So big day here for Momo on day 10. He is going to attempt his first trip out of the round pen. We are going to try to get him in a stall today. And here Fledgy is going to be our guide horse. He's being a very good boy and letting Momo come up and say hi to him. So the idea with using Fledgy is that we'll have a confident horse to lead the way outside of the round pen. So you can see here, Momo is a little bit unsure about exiting the round pen. And that's not super uncommon for them. So I'll just keep asking him to take a step out of the round pen. Usually the first foot is the hardest part. Once they get that first foot out, they're usually able to get the rest of their body out. So we decided to back Fledgy up a little bit to help Momo out, see if Fledgy's a little bit closer, if having that lead will help him get that first foot out of the round pen. Momo does appreciate that Fledge is a little bit closer, but he's still being a little bit sticky-footed coming out of the round pen. And again, it's to be expected on their first venture out of the round pen. The gate, is a little bit of a small area to lead through, and they're faced with all of this open space, which can make them feel a little bit insecure. So we'll just keep asking. So I'm going to cut out a lot of the video that shows pretty much us just doing this over and over again. I think it takes about 10 minutes before Momo is willing to put that first foot out of the round pen, so I'll skip ahead until there. So we've skipped ahead, and now Momo finally decides to take his first steps out into the open like a very brave boy. And we like to keep him pretty close to our guide horse, Fledgy. He's a good boy, and we've been working on leading, but the first time out of the round pen is always very nerve-wracking, although Momo is proving me wrong right here because he is more interested in the grass than the open space.
He's such a goober.
And now we start making our way towards the barn. Ellen, our videographer, is hanging back a little bit so Momo doesn't get too spooked by somebody up behind him. And now we're coming to kind of the first obstacle, which is the driveway. The change in ground, the change in colors, the change in texture can sometimes throw them for a loop for a second. So we'll see how he handles that. So that wasn't too bad. Momo just needed a second to check out the driveway. And now we'll work on our second obstacle, which is going into the barn. So not only does the ground change from the asphalt to brick, but I'm also asking him to enter this big, scary building. As he gets a little bit sticky-footed, Elisa will bring Fledgy closer so we can use him as a guide, and Ellen will get a little bit closer to his rear end which will help provide a little bit of pressure from behind to move him forward when he's not being super soft off the halter pressure. And again, this is all to be expected. It's very common green Mustang behavior. So I cut out a couple minutes where we did the same thing. We brought Fledgy a little bit closer, and now we're getting Momo a little bit closer to the barn. And you can see now he can see into the barn. So I'm going to let him sniff the ground. You can see the ground changes from the asphalt to the little brick pavers. And I'm actually quite pleased he's sticking his head down. He's relaxed enough to think about what he's doing and where he's going. And he's actually looking at it and considering it, not just blowing me off completely. The first step is always the hardest, but I find that once you can get them to put their foot on the new surface and they realize that it's fine, you can usually get them to put the other feet on the surface. It's honestly a little bit similar to getting horses into water for the first time. They can be unsure and not really understand it, but once they get that first foot in, they're usually able to figure out that it's okay. So we're letting Momo take his time here and moving his feet back and forth a little bit. And now he's okay with the ground. I'm going to say that the part that he doesn't really like right now is I am taking him into a kind of dark enclosed area, which would be against all natural instincts of his to go into. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. We did more of the same for a little bit. We brought Fledgy a little bit closer. I got Momo's full body into the barn. We got him just past the door to where he is right now, and then he backed out. And then this is the second time trying again. And he's in the barn now, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a reward. You can see that's Johnny on the right that wants to say hi to Momo. But I don't particularly want Momo to start squealing when he meets a new horse, so I'll pull him away from him a little bit. And we're aimed up on that stall on the right. So our feet are a little more freer moving now. And now the last hurdle is getting him into the stall. There's a window in the back of the stall, but they can't really see out of it that well from where he is. So again, this is, a bit of a big ask for them. It's an enclosed space, not necessarily something he's super comfortable with. So Ellen is behind him, and that's a little bit of pressure, and I'm up front asking him to come into the stall. And it doesn't actually take too long to get him into the stall. And once they're in the stall, they're usually pretty appreciative. They learn pretty quick that they get food in here and water and hay, and it's actually not a bad place to be. And they can feel safe in the walls instead of trapped in the walls. And you'll notice we don't use Fledge as a lead into the stall because the idea of getting trapped in a stall with two horses that don't really know each other is very unsettling. I've been kicked that way before, so we'll take Fledgy up close to the stall. But there is no reason to have Fledge in the stall with Momo also in the stall for safety reasons.
This is about as close as I get.
And just after this, Momo finally goes into the stall. And I think that's all we did with him this day. It was a big trip coming out of the round pen for the first time. So stay tuned for the next video.
There you go. Good boy.
Careful.